Welcome to NinonSpeaks. I'm your host, Ninon de Rosa, and my co-host is AJ Dean. Sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome to NinonSpeaks. I'm Ninon de Rosa, your host, and I'd like to thank all our viewers out there for tuning into our show. We've just won, I believe, something like, 9 or 10 awards. We've got them from Pine Studios in London. We've got them from Vegas. And it's only because of all of you out there that vote for us and take care of us and look at us and see what we're doing that makes this happen. So I just want to thank all of you out there. And of course, I have to thank my one and only AJ Dean. She's my producer and my co-host, and she's just amazing. And she follows up with everything and does everything. And I don't ever interview I never pre-interview my guests. That's number one. Number two, I never actually bring them in. So AJ, this is your job. Take it over.
Oh, thank you so much, Nina. You're looking beautiful as always, and congratulations on all those film awards that you have won. We have two lovely ladies tonight. I'm so pleased to announce them. Aren't they gorgeous? We have the lovely Liz Rizzo. She is an amazing writer, author of the book Rusty Warren, The Knockers Up Girl. And she's going to talk about Rusty, and she's going to play a song from Rusty, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm so delighted that she's here. And also the beautiful and wonderful Cora Vette. Look how gorgeous she is. She's a burlesque MC, host, comic, and performer. And she loves and looks so good in the color pink. Doesn't she, Ninon? Welcome, lady.
Amazing. Corey, out of all the different things that you do, which is your favorite when you walk on stage? And which is the one you really feel most confident about, and you sort of you hold the stage? Which one of those is it?
I think singing is my first love. Singing and
Really?
and now dirty jokes and singing dirty songs.
Dirty jokes, dirty songs. Okay. Now, a woman telling a dirty joke is totally different to a man telling a dirty joke.
Yes.
So, and I know that because I know Shecky Green very well. I used to watch his show, and he's also a personal friend. But also, a man can come up with all these different words, which I'm not going to come up just yet. I might later, but we'll see. But for a woman to do that, it's a little different. How confident do you feel when you do that? Now, what are the, worst ones you come out with?
Well, I think it's different for a woman to tell a dirty joke, especially I think I get away with more because I'm sparkly and shiny and fun, and I think I can get away with some things that male comics they'd be like, oh man, that's a groaner joke, and I can sometimes say things and be like, haha, it's funny, and I get a little more leverage, I think, a little more leeway to be inappropriate, and it's also sort of more shocking to hear a woman say something.
Oh, that's the problem. That's because they sound shocking. But you, with your spirit and how you are, you definitely get away with it. What do you think, Liz? Do you think she gets away with it?
Absolutely. She's gorgeous.
Isn't she gorgeous?
And I love pink. Pink is my color.
I did not like pink until I bought my house here, and the house that I have is a 1960 house, and it's sort of a time capsule home in Las Vegas downtown, and it's so pink. The bathroom is pink, the kitchen is pink, that I was like, okay, that's my color now. This is where we're going.
Well,
so
I think pink came in the 1960s, 70s, the 50s and 60s. This pink bathroom and pink this and pink that and pink toilets and pink bathtubs.
I have a pink toilet and a pink bathtub. For me to change it would be renovating the entire house, and I love the fact that it's still exactly the way the woman that built this house in 1960 built it, and it's so creative, and I would never change it. So I just steered into the skid and decided that was my new color. So
okay, so Cora is what you call is in the pink.
In the pink.
In the pink. Now, Liz, you've had a fascinating life, and I don't know where to start with you because you've just done so much. So I guess I'm going to start out with, I believe you were very friendly with, and you had a lot of connection with a young woman called Rusty Warren.
Correct, yes. We had a long life together.
You had a long life together. Now, when did you first meet?
I met her at a comedy show when I was 23 years old.
23, wow.
I just met her, had a couple drinks with her. I was married at the time.
Yeah.
And it was a connection there, obviously, because we got together about 7 years later as a couple. And then we
Hang
stayed
on.
together.
Hang on. Let me just go back a little bit. So when you met her, you were married. Was she married as well, or did
No,
you just,
she was.
no, she wasn't.
She was with Eva, her
Oh, she
girlfriend
was
Eva.
with Eva. Okay, so you had this connection, which I would imagine we're going to talk about it as being a sexual connection.
Well, at the
just a
time, it
connect-
wasn't. Not the first time. I liked her. I just liked her. I liked her comedy. I never heard of her before, but I liked her. So it was a connection.
And there was a connection there. So then when you got connected back together after what? You said 7 years.
7 years. Circumstances brought us back together.
And what did you, I'm going to ask a very personal question. Did you get married?
No, we did not. We purposely did not get married.
You purposely
Well, we
did
didn't
not.
want to get married because we didn't want to be on record as being married, but we did do a trust so that we blended all of our finances to
I was
protect
going to
us.
say, how does that work?
Well, we didn't get married. We just didn't want to. That was just our
but
choice.
how does it work when, I guess it works the same as a married couple of, you go 50-50 on everything, supposedly. I don't know.
Yeah, you're supposed to. Yeah, but we built a life together and we were very happy sharing things, and just like any married couple would do.
Yeah. Did Rusty Warren recently pass away?
May 25th. Yes, she passed away quietly in her sleep.
Oh, how beautiful. How beautiful.
Yeah.
I always think that must be one of the greatest ways to pass away.
Yes.
None of us want to pass away. Well, I don't mind. I'm actually ready for up there.
No, you're not, Ninon. I need you here on the planet. So no, you're not, Ninon. You're not getting off that easy.
Well, I can think about it. So what is the greatest experience that stands out in your life with Rusty of being together?
Wow, that's a tough
Very
question.
big question.
There were many of them.
I'm sure.
I think just we planned to honor her legacy. This was kind of the long-term plan. She wanted someone to write her book, and we went through maybe 10 different authors, and she decided I was going to write it. And then
so you actually wrote her book.
I wrote her book. It's 276 pages.
Well,
Right. And if you want to see the book, it looks like this. It's Rusty.
Oh, look at that, Russ. Oh, you've both got, oh, how sweet. Look at you. Both
I
got-
love. And there's she on the back, a little, on stage. But it was a labor of love, and it took me a year to write. And it's
That's all?
year, 8 hours a day, every
But
day.
it had to be because you can't write a book in
It took a
1 year.
lot of work, and
Yeah.
I had people help me edit it, and it was done. And
Now, Cora, were you any part of this book or any part of Rusty Warren?
No,
You knew her.
I did not know her personally. I have her records. I am fascinated by her story. I just got the book a few weeks ago, so I'm starting to read it. I've gotten a little bit into it, but as a singer, comedian, entertainer that's always sort of been a fan of speaking out and being a little more on the racy side, I always thought what she did was so pioneering and so wonderful to be a woman saying, well, again, like I said, to be a woman saying things that women didn't say.
Wasn't she one of kind of the first women, it's for both of you, wasn't this kind of a thing when she was kind of the one that brought out a lot of firsts? She had that daring attitude that she held onto, and she really wasn't afraid of being a woman and wasn't afraid of putting it out there as being a woman.
correct. Mm-hmm. She said women like sex, and women weren't even telling the people they were doing it with they liked it.
Right.
So
It's like a natural thing, but coming from England, we don't even talk about sex. So it's like, ooh, at least America talks about it, and it's out there. But England is like, shh.
Absolutely.
I would love, Ninon, can I interject? Could we hear a little bit of something from Rusty? Ninon, would that be
Absolutely.
okay?
Oh, I think it'd be wonderful. I think absolutely would love that. Cora, you like that?
Hey,
Yes.
tell me when you're ready.
We're ready. We're in this
Okay.
all together.
That's it.
That's it.
Knockers
Well,
up.
that's pretty cool. How well known was she as a singer?
There you go.
well-
Everybody pardon me?
Liz, how well known was she as a singer? I mean, in those days, I don't know if they had the charts and everything. I don't know.
I do. I have the charts, and I own the copyrights to everything. I inherited all the songs, all the rights, and I'm going to be remastering them.
Okay. And did you write any of the lyrics?
No, I did write some of her work when we worked on the cruise ship, and when we worked at Trump's Castle. I worked on some of the comedy with her. But she had other writers
You're talking about the Trump of the president?
Yes, the Trump. We worked a month at Trump's Castle years ago. She was
I didn't know he had a castle.
He did. Well, it was the hotel.
The hotel in Atlanta, right?
Atlantic City. We were there a month.
City. Yeah. I think I was there sometime. I don't know. It was Taj Mahal or something he had there, something.
Right, it was next to that. So we did that. But over the years, she had different people write her comedy, but mainly she did her own comedy. And
really?
I recently found in the paperwork the copyright releases and all the paperwork that I need to move forward to get her music public, because it's never really been public.
Legally?
Yes.
How are you going legally? Are you protected? Are you okay? Because the reason I'm asking that question is because you weren't ever married, but you did have all your trusts and everything in order.
Correct, we did.
So are you all okay with all that stuff?
I'm okay. When we recently sold our home, there was a lot of litigation over Rusty's assets. And as it turns out, whatever she had would pass to me. And that's what happened, essentially, is that I was her heir.
Yeah.
And I inherited the music, everything, copyrights. So
everything.
Yes. And I'm going to.
Well, you're in well-deserved. How long were you together?
Oh, gosh, almost 40 years.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a long time.
That is a long time. Corey, are you married?
Yes.
You are married. And your husband, how does he feel about everything that you do? You are still performing, aren't you?
Yes. Well, not lately because COVID shut down everything. But no, I'm married. It's my second husband now. We just got married. We got married right before COVID hit. So we just a few weeks ago had our wedding reception. So it's still relatively new, but it's great. He's very.
Well, hang on a second. With the COVID, you had plenty of time together. I mean, you had to stay in the home 24 hours a day, so you kind of got pretty lucky. Hello.
I still like him. I think what I learned about being sort of locked down for a year and a half and having no performing opportunities is that I like my house. I like my relationship, which is certainly new on time number 2. I think all this time off gave us a lot of time to think about what we wanted to do, what was important to us, how I imagine that relationships that were contentious got more stressful, and mine was pretty easy. So I'm very grateful to have the support from somebody who is, he thinks it's great, likes to hear me sing. It's very supportive, so I can't complain.
Is he in the entertainment business as well?
He is actually a chemist. So he was a fan of burlesque shows when I was in Colorado. So I was in Vegas. I played Tanya in Mamma Mia at the Mandalay Bay about 15 years ago. So and then I got pregnant, had my son, moved back to Colorado, and just recently moved back just before COVID shut down the stages. So he was a fan of burlesque shows, which I started doing in Colorado because there wasn't a lot of theater. There weren't a lot of stages. And we just, hit it off and got to talking. But yeah, he's a chemist. And actually, right now, he's working in one of the marijuana testing labs. So I guess he's a cannabis chemist now.
A cannabis chemist. They're trying to get this legal, aren't they, across all states? Is it getting close, do you think?
I don't know. I know it's heavily regulated here in a way that it isn't even in Colorado, because a lot of times Colorado will just be like, I don't know, sell that. That looks good. But here everything has to be tested, and he's still at work because he, gets stuck there a lot trying to make sure that everyone can get their marijuana.
Absolutely. Let's get back to the burlesque. Being a burlesque dancer, and do you still perform as a burlesque dancer, Corey? Do you still? I
never did the actual striptease part of burlesque. I ended up doing the more the comedian and the singer and the MC part. I was a little more shy than some of the dancers that are more bold in their artistic nudity than I am. So I sort of took on the baggy pants comic / singer / MC and balled it into one and found a way to keep performing in
that particular way. What about
and I actually really, really love it more than, I guess I love legitimate theater, but burlesque performing is so much more freeing and so much more seat of your pants. That's one of my most favorite things about doing a burlesque MC is that it's different all the time.
Yes,
and it's kind of
absolutely.
like
Yeah. But going out there and sort of stripping and taking all your clothes, there's got to be a certain type of mental brain up here, and then there's got to be a certain type of body you have to have, because you've got to have a pretty cool body to.
Well, you don't actually. I think what used to be, certainly if you look at the burlesque legends, there's a lot of legends that live in Vegas. They it was very much, you had to have a really killer body back in the 40s and the 50s and 60s. And what's happened with the neo-burlesque movement is it's become a lot more inclusive of all shapes and sizes and colors. And it's become a way for women to celebrate their bodies however they looked, which I think is one of my favorite parts. There's certainly burlesque shows that are like super like, oh my gosh, you have a perfect body. But then there's a lot of shows right now that are just like, I'm loving who I am and I'm comfortable in my skin and I feel like I should show you, and I think that's the best part of the neo movement.
Absolutely. Now, Liz, you can relate to this a little bit because you kind of, you were living with another woman. So you were doing something a little different 40 years ago. It wasn't quite, in the open as it is now. I love it being in the open. I think it always should have been in the open, but it wasn't. So you lived through the same sort of thing as sort of doing something a little different.
Yes, it was different.
What was it like?
Well, we had to hide because I'm a bisexual woman. So I was married to men. So when I got into
How many men were you married to?
I have my third husband now. Three is a charm. And actually, Rusty and I got married together like about 2 years ago.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
How beautiful.
Yeah. Well, Rusty wanted to be part of the ceremony. She said, I will not give you away unless he marries me, because she fell in love with him.
She fell in love with your husband.
In love. He's such a charming, wonderful man. And it was
you better not introduce me to him. I might fall in love with him as well.
I got a picture of the wedding. You see Rusty at the bottom there? I don't know if you see her.
There she is. Look at her.
And she's holding the flowers. It was sort of unconventional, but we made our own vows, and it was a very private ceremony, and it's what we did. That's how we lived.
But it's what you wanted. It was what you wanted.
Beautiful.
So did you all live together?
No. Well, she lived around the corner right after we got married for about 6 months, and she came over here every day for about 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of litigation going on at that time, so we had to be careful where we went, what we did, and she had some physical problems. She had to have surgery.
So therefore you kind of parted from her and actually married somebody else.
Right. After she went to where she was staying with her guardian.
Did she want that, and did she mind that?
She did, but not under the circumstances. She really, at that point, her dementia was so far advanced that she really didn't have a choice.
So she probably didn't know too much what was going on.
No, she didn't know what was going on, because prior to her going there, I did a lot of recordings of her. So I'm going to release them soon.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so in her words, and that's the best way to tell your story.
Absolutely, because it's coming from, excuse me, the horse's mouth. But not exactly the horse's mouth. AJ, take the floor. You want to ask a question?
Oh, thank you, Ninon. Yes, I'd like to know from both of you lovely ladies, and I've asked this, I think, before, but it's a great question. What has been the highlight, the best memory that you have had so far in the burlesque world, or performing, or with Rusty Warren? Can you share a few wonderful memories and moments with us?
Okay, do you want me to go first?
Yes, go ahead, Liz.
Okay, well, actually, in 2016, Rusty was a legend guest at Burlesque Hall of Fame in Las Vegas. And that was exciting to her, thrilling. We saw the most unbelievable acts, the most beautiful men and women. And Rusty got to walk across the stage. And of course, I had to hold her arm going across. So it was my first time on stage in Las Vegas, which was kind of fun.
That's cool.
And for Rusty, she was, I think, 86, 87. she just loved it. She likes lights on her face. She likes to be in the spotlight.
So how old was she? How old was she when she passed?
Well, and she died this year. She was 91. So in 2016, she was, 87.
87. Wow.
87. She was up there with all the legends. It was beautiful. With Tempest Storm, who's passed away this year.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was,
All the good oldies are going. They're disappearing.
What's her name? James Bond. One of the James Bond girls was there.
Is that Trina Parks?
Trina Parks. Trina Parks was an opening act for Rusty in Las Vegas. So they reconnected at the Burlesque Hall of Fame.
How wonderful.
And unfortunately, COVID came and COVID changed everything. So
yes, it sure did. How about you, Corey? What's your?
I actually there's so many that's why my face went like
Which one?
my biggest memory was actually when I was doing Mamma Mia the first time at the Mandalay Bay about 15 years ago, and I was living here doing lounge band stuff, and I auditioned for the show, and I got cast as an understudy and in the ensemble, and so I was supposed to be understudying one of the two leads, Donna and Tanya, roles, and we did 2 weeks like most Broadway shows. We rehearsed for 6 weeks, and we had 2 weeks of previews, and they didn't start understudy rehearsals until after the opening. So it was like you weren't allowed as an understudy to watch the principal's rehearsals because they were private. But I just, you knew that after the show opened, you'd start rehearsals for your understudy job. So you would learn that role. Oh. And the final preview, the 13th preview, I got a phone call and the director said, "I'm sorry, you're on tonight for Tanya." And I was like,
gotta be kidding.
how fast can you get here? And I was like, I'm in my car. But I had not rehearsed the role yet. It was, the Mamma Mia is the three dynamos. It's the mom and the rich, saucy friend and Rosie. And so I got thrown on stage, and I had costumes already because I lived here in Vegas. And so luckily I had stuff to wear, but I had an afternoon of rehearsal and they were like, "It's never happened before, just go." And it was the night before the big grand opening, and so Benny and Bjorn from ABBA were here. They were having a VIP cocktail party, and I was terrified. And
I bet you were.
It was definitely a little Peggy Sawyer from 42nd Street moment where I was like, well, I'm gonna do it. And I did the show. I don't remember any of it because I just figured it out as I went along. And they came up, I guess everybody came down from the VIP reception because it was going to be a train wreck. And I guess they liked what I did. And they told me after the show to sit tight, do your job, and good things are coming. And then they gave me the role the very next year. So
so you got the actual role for the following year. How beautiful.
For the following 2 years. And then I think they spent the next 2 years trying to get me to do what I did when I don't remember what I was doing. Because I think my whole attitude was like, well, here we are. And because I didn't know.
Let's go for it. Go for it. Do your
Obviously,
best.
It wasn't terrible because I kept the role for 2 more years. But yeah, I'll never forget getting that phone call from a Broadway company and saying, "You're on." And I was like,
and of course, that's what you were cast for. That's what you were supposed to do, but you don't really ever think that's going to happen.
No.
And then you hadn't even rehearsed for it. So that was a little bit of a sort of a slippery road for you.
It was terrifying. I'm glad I got the chance because I don't know that I would have been given the part if they hadn't seen me do it, being because most of the principals and the leads from that show at the time were from New York and LA. And I think I probably got cast because I lived here as an understudy. And then you could come in right away,
and you came in right away and you did your job. You were prepared. So, I'd like to tell all our actors and people out there that perform and everything that you've always got to be prepared for a job, to come on stage or to play or to do anything right away. A lot of people aren't ready for that. They don't understand that you can be called at the last minute to perform.
Yeah, I got called at 11 o'clock in the morning for a show that night. And
that's not very, very long for a...
Luckily, I was envious and watching her very closely during rehearsals.
Now, both of you have children. Do you both have children?
No.
You don't have children, Liz.
No,
you have...
I have one. He's 14.
Oh, he's 40. I was going to say, is he going to the burlesque business? He's a bit young yet.
Yeah, he's a little bit young, but he does definitely know that mom's not normal. I tell him all the time.
My God,
Mom's not
normal. You seem very normal to me.
He's super normal. So,
Liz, how would you like to see the burlesque performances and performers to continue the way it used to be and how it used to be? Because it's kind of changing a little bit, as Cora said, that, you know, they've got all different people coming on, able to do the dancing and whatever they need, whatever they want to do. What do you think?
Well, this past few weeks ago, the Burlesque Hall of Fame did this year's show online. It was beautiful. And it was different, but being in person is great. But I think with COVID, we're going to all have to adapt to the new normal. And that's okay, because out of some of this mess, there'll be something good. And I always believe that you take anything that is, it's like the child who wakes up Christmas morning and there's horse manure under the tree. And he said, oh, I must have gotten a pony. So it's that kind of positive out of the negative.
The positive side of life, which is always amazing to me. That's funny. That is funny. That is funny. So what have you got up your alley, Liz? What's coming along the line for you?
Well, I'm working on another book, but I'm doing it it's called novellas, where you buy a chapter at a time. And I'm going to tell all about Rusty and my relationship, about her career, because there's a lot of things that people don't know.
Really?
So I'm doing that. I'm working on a play. We have someone who wrote a play who's going to do a one-woman play, and then I'm remastering the music.
Have you got the person yet to do the one-woman?
I do have the person. Her name is Anna Guigui, and we've been working for about 5 years. So Rusty was involved in this. Good. And then, of course, the remastering of the music and redistributing it is going to be, because I already own the copyrights prior to this, and now that they're all mine. They were half mine, now they're all. So it's a process, and I'm looking for someone to work with me to help me put them on Spotify, iTunes, Pandora.
Oh, so you want somebody that's on social media. Is this show going to open up in New York?
It's going to be first shown in Boston. They're going to do a drive
run.
Boston, yeah, because she works as a teacher in Boston. So she's going to do it there. And then we'd really like to do it at the National Comedy Museum, because they have a big venue there.
Oh, that's cool.
So that would be sort of fun. But I'm also, willing to do, if someone comes up with a great idea, I want to perpetuate the Rusty Warren image, because she was incredible. And she was never on the air. She had never been played on the air before.
Really?
So, yeah, never. They considered it dirty, naughty.
Isn't that because the recordings were censored and not allowed to be on?
They were censored. But nowadays they're not censored, but they're still funny. And Rusty did 17 albums. So that's a lot of albums.
That's a lot of albums. So you're the actual young lady that's going to be bringing all this out and giving her a platform that she actually created, but never really had.
No, she did in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
She worked 20 years in Las Vegas. Yeah. But I promised her I would do this. And
But you're bringing out a whole different background of her, the complete story that nobody knows.
No one knows. And I'm not going to tell every secret. I'll go to my grave with some of the secrets. But there's some things that are very interesting that people
you've got to get the book so people will buy it. Come on.
I think they will. I think the chapters will be they'll be reasonable enough when they purchase them, because it'll be a couple dollars.
They'll be cheeky enough, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be. Believe me, Rusty. If these walls could talk.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Liz. Ninon, we're going to have to wrap that up, Ninon.
Okay, we're going to wrap up. So thank you everybody for watching. Have we got time to ask where they come? How can anybody reach you, Liz?
Well, they can reach me through Rusty's website, rustywarren.com.
Fabulous. And what about you, Cora?
Oh, they can reach me on my website. It's coravette.com. So CoraVette.
Fabulous. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. It's been amazing. Time goes far too fast. AJ, thank you. Anything you want to say, AJ?
Thank you, and have a good night.
You too. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.